Hello and welcome back to part 2 of creating your own eCourse. This is the part where we talk about how to create your own quiz using the Revizzit quiz generator. Now, if you've watched lesson 1 of this eCourse tutorial, you'll see that we've already completed these 6 steps, and now we're down here where it says quiz generator. And so this is a completely different process. It all takes place on the web, and the first thing you're going to need to do is to go to contents.revizzit.com/quizmaker. And you can see that here we have a form that you can fill out to create your quiz. It makes it very easy. You don't have to do any editing of code. Now, the other thing I recommend before you even come here is to go ahead and prepare a document. Now, you'll see here I've got this document right here called questions. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. So in my questions document, I've already written out the questions that I want to put and the answers that I want to put into my various quizzes. So for lesson 1, I've got these ones. For lesson 2, I've got these ones. And for lesson 3, I've got these ones. So this just makes it easy for me to have it already prepared. So when I get to the form, I can just fill it out very easily. So go ahead and do that. Write up all your quizzes for all your different lessons. And once you have that all ready, you're ready to get started. So let me go ahead and get started now. I'll show you exactly how this quiz generator works. So it's got all the instructions built in. It's pretty easy to follow through, but you'll see the first thing you'll notice is it says you have created 0 questions. And that's because down here we're going to create questions as we go. So you can create as many questions as you want, and as you create your questions, this number is going to change. Okay, so that's good to know. You can always look up here and see how many questions have you created if you need to have that as a reference point. Now, I also advise in here that you create twice as many questions as you need for the actual quiz. The reason for that is that it's going to make those questions random. And if you have twice as many questions, that means if they don't pass the quiz and they go and take it again, it's not the exact same quiz. It's going to be different questions and randomly place some of the same questions, some different questions. But that way you're giving them a better chance of actually learning your material rather than just letting them keep trying the same quiz over and over until they get it right. So I am not going to follow that advice, however, for my quiz, because there's not really much learning involved in this example. So let's go ahead and take a look. Now we're going to do this each time for each of our quizzes, right? So we're going to do this, in my case, I'm going to do this 3 times. So the first question is, how many questions to be displayed? Well, let me go over here and take a look at how many questions I have. I have question 1, question 2, and question 3. So I have 3 questions for this particular quiz. I'm going to go ahead and shrink that guy out of the way. So I'm going to come back here and put in 3. That's going to know when the test is over. So you want to make sure you have how many questions. Then you want the minimum percentage that they can pass. So what is the percentage? Well, out of 3 questions, I would hope they get at least 66%, right? I hope they get 2 out of the 3 correct. So I'm going to put 65. And that means that if they get 2 of the questions, they'll be good to go. This message here, you can change it if you want. This is the message they'll see when they finish the quiz and they get and they've passed. This part right here where it's got that little percentage signs and everything like that, don't change that, because that's going to put this number in, or actually that's going to put in the number that they got correct. So it's going to put in their own percentage. So that's a piece of code. So you can change this, though. If you don't like the word congrats, you can write whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and leave this alone right now. This is the message they're going to display if you don't pass. Again, it wants to let you know let your customer know what happened. So it says, sorry, you scored this much percent and you needed at least this much percent. Please try again. So in here, it's going to actually put in 65% in my case. Okay, so I'm going to leave that alone as well. It's totally good for me. Now, web address to the reward or bonus. This is important. This is where you're going to put the URL for the module they're going to purchase. So when they complete this quiz, you want it to say, click here, and that's going to open up a free checkout for that new module. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go over to my Revizzit account, and I know this is going to be lesson 1, so I want to go down and find, oops, let me go back to products. I want to go find the URL for lesson 2. And where I find that is, and I want to use the direct to cart URL. Okay, so where I want to find that is I'm going to click on manage product. And right down here, there's a buy now button code. I don't want this whole code. I only want where right here in the first line it says action equals, and then it's a quotation mark, and then a web address starts. I want everything in those quotes. So it'll start there and end quote right there. It'll start with HTTP and it'll end with equals cart. Okay, so you just want to get that much. It's just the URL. Okay, so I'm going to copy that and come back over to my quiz, and that is what's going to go in here. So I'm just going to highlight that and put that in there. Okay. Then you want the label that's going to be on the button. So what does the button say? It's going to say get next chapter or get next lesson or whatever you want it to say. So I'll say on this one, I'm going to say get lesson 2. I'll even put a little exclamation point in there. And if it's a fail, that's going to say try again. That's fine. Okay, so that's all set up. So now the only thing we have to do is put in our question. So I click on new question, and this is where you paste in your question, and here's where you create your answer. So let's go back to my text document, and here's my first question. It's a true or false question. So I'm going to grab this. It's actually a statement, not a question. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it into here. And now the answer is always has to be the first answer correct. It says right there, first answer is correct. So whatever the correct answer is, that's the first one. So in this case, it's true. And I'm going to add a new answer, which is false. So it's a simple true or false question. That's it. And I'm going to hit new question. And you keep going through this, putting in your answers. They can be multiple choice. They can be yes or no. They can be, and you can put as many multiple choices as you want. And that's pretty much it. So you're going to give them options, but make sure you always put the first answer correct. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this out, and then I'll be back with you. Okay, so I've completed my 3 questions for my quiz. If I come back up here to the top, you'll see that now it says you have created 3 questions instead of 0. So everything matches up. And now I come down to the bottom, and as I was creating this quiz, it automatically generated the code for me right down here. So all I need to do now is click in here, select all, and copy. Now that's copied to my clipboard. I'm going to come over to my text editor. So you can use just a regular text editor just like this. I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to paste it in just like that. And I'm going to save this as, I'm going to save it right inside here, and I want to save this as quiz.json. Now it's not going to let you call it that right away because it's going to want to keep it with the text thing in it. So you can see there's what it's got to be named, quiz.json. I'm going to go ahead and just name this quiz. I'm going to call it, I'll just leave it quiz.rtf, and I'll save that. That'll be inside the right folder, so we'll know which one is which. So I'm going to close that. And now I'm going to do the same thing again. Just by coming up here, I'm just going to refresh this. And now I'm ready to start again. I'm going to make my second set of questions. And on the second one, I've got 1, 2, 3 questions for this as well. So I'm going to go through and reset all this. Set that to 3, leave that 90, all that's okay. I have to go in, once again, to the Revizzit Studio, and I want to get level 3 URL. So I'm going to go to Manage Product, and I'm going to come down into the button code here, and I'm going to get action equals. I want that HTTP ends in the word cart. Copy that. I'll jump back over to this, and I'm going to put that into this URL box. Okay, and I'm going to say change this to get lesson 3, and that's good. And now first question comes in, and again, same thing you saw before. Whatever your questions and answers are, it's just easier if you copy and paste them in. Copy that, paste that, come down here. First answer is true, so I'll put that in there. True, new answer, false, and new question. Take this one here, copy, and the first answer is always the correct answer. Now remember, once you put in the first answer is the correct answer, when the actual quiz takes place, they will be shuffled up. So don't think that their quiz is always just they just choose answer 1 that's correct. This will automatically shuffle up the answers every time to a unique pattern. So you just need to let the system know which answer is supposed to be correct. So that's why it's done that way. Number 2, get this, command copy, paste, new answer, passwords, copy, paste, new answer, copy, and paste. All right, and now we'll go to question 3. Copy. And this is also true. This one, false. Okay, so there's my 3 questions. And once again, it's already generated this for me. I just do a Control A or Command A if you're on a Mac, and then copy, and come down here, paste it into an text editing file. So let me go to New, Paste, and I'm going to save this as. So now I'm going to put it in the second folder. So I was in quiz 1. Now I'm going to go to quiz 2 folder. I'm going to save it in there. I'm going to call this one quiz also. Okay. And I'll go ahead and do my 3rd lesson, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, so my final exam is finished. Make sure you put in the URL for the graduate part of it. That goes there. And also remember that your label on your last button should be something like, congratulations or success, whatever, to let them know that they've actually passed, they've completed the course, and now they're going to get whatever bonus you're going to give them or diploma or whatever. So that's all been done. So I'm going to go ahead and close out the quiz generator. We're done with that part. Let's go ahead and take a look at our list now. So we created our custom quizzes for each chapter. We used the module URL in the success field. We did that. And we can see our next step here is save as quiz.json. Now you remember we didn't do that yet. We saved them in a different name. So depending on whether you're on a Mac or a PC, this is going to be a little bit different. You may have saved them as RTF files or as TXT files. If you did it in Notepad or something like that, you probably saved it as a text file. And so one of the things that I always want to make sure, especially on Mac, is that this is actually a 2-step process. So we're going to go into our quiz folder, and there's that quiz.rtf. Okay, so first of all, we can go ahead and delete this quiz.json. We don't need that anymore, so I'm going to get rid of that. And we're going to change this into a quiz.json. The first thing we have to do is when it's an RTF file, that means that the code in here isn't going to work because it has funny little quotation marks and things. So some of the things don't look right. Easy to fix. We're just going to take this and change the format to plain text. Like this. Click OK. And now it's in plain text. So you see now it's quiz.txt. So if you already were at txt, you're probably okay. If you were an RTF, you want to change that first. Then we're going to save it. And now if we go back, we'll see that now it's a text file. And now all we have to do is change the extension. So again, if you were already on a TXT file, you just have to change the extension. And if you were on RTF, you need to change it to text first, then change it to a JSON. And when I try to save it, it's going to ask me, what do I want to do? I want to use JSON. Okay? And there it is. So that's all set. So now I can go into each of my folders and do that same thing. I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm going to take this one and open it up. I'm going to format it into plain text. Okay. I'm going to save it, close it, and come over here and change the ending on it to JSON and use that. Okay, and I've already done number 3, so those are all set. Now the last piece of the puzzle, we're going to come over here and we're going to replace those JSON files that we had in the beginning. So I go to quiz 1 bucket, or quiz 1 folder, and you see there it is. That's the old one. So all you have to do now is upload the new one. So I'll go over here and drag and drop. Let me go back to quiz 1, and I'm just going to drag that one in, set my permissions, public, start upload. And now it's done. It's in here. This has been replaced. And if I double click on this index, you'll see what happens. We now have our new quiz in here. You can see it's for question 1 of 3, and there's our quiz ready to go. Okay, so we click on it, we see that it works. Here's the second question, which we know is true, and the third question, which we know is all of these. Congrats, get lesson 2. All working perfectly. So you go ahead and do that for each one of your quiz folders. And once you've done that, and I'll go ahead and I'm just going to, real quick, I'm just going to replace this one because then I'm ready to go. I've already replaced 3. Let me just add that in here to quiz 2. I'll put that guy in there. Set details, set permissions, public, and upload. Okay, so mine is completely done now. My quiz is ready to go. The last thing I need to do is come back to the Revizzit Studio, back to products. And I'm going to come in here, and this eCourse now is ready to go. I'm going to choose next step. Of course, you might want to fill out your synopsis and your author and stuff, and I'll come back and do that. But for the sake of this tutorial, I click next step, I click publish, and that is now live. And if I go to the freebie section of the Revizzit store, it will no doubt be in there. They're alphabetical, that's how I know. And there it is right there, Revizzit eCourse example. Okay, so if I wanted to get this product right now, I could, let me log out of here, and I'll log in real quick, and we'll take a look at it. I'll log into my personal account, go shopping, go into the freebie section, and go to page 2, buy now. Confirm and submit. Okay, it's all set. So now if I go into my Revizzit Studio, into my Revizzit app, okay, so it's all syncing, and we're going to see that my new product is going to start streaming in here that I just bought. And it'll probably be down here at the bottom, and there it is, Revizzit eCourse still coming in. It's got the little yellow arrow next to it, so I'm just going to wait. Okay, there it is. And let's go ahead and see if we can take a look at this. So let me shrink it down so we can see the whole thing. And there's page 2. And you'll see it only came in with 4 pages, and that's it. But I can take this quiz, and there's my quiz, and I can say valuable, true, and all of these. Congrats, get lesson 2. Now it's going to go direct to cart. Proceed with checkout, it's free. Okay, come down here, confirm my order, and submit. Okay, so that's done. I can close this. I'm going to go back to my home screen. And now, if I close Revizzit and reopen it, this will automatically sync. But if I want to sync it, I just come up here and choose sync. And you're going to see this is going to change in a second here. And there it is. You see the little icon next to it. So now when I come in, you'll see right off the bat, if you look up in the toolbar here, there's 7 pages now. So if I click through these, there's lesson 1. And now, instead of the take the quiz page, you'll see that now module 2 has been inserted. So we got lesson 2, which takes us to the end, and again, another quiz. And that's how it works all the way through to the end. I'll go ahead and finish here. You can go and get this in the freebie section and check it out for yourself. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to create an eCourse, and I wish you a lot of luck with it. Thanks a lot. Take care.